Direct News TV. September 29, 2023. Pakistan blasts live news, twin explosions kill dozens of worshippers. Two explosions have killed dozens of people in Pakistan. The first blast struck a procession to celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad in Mastang, Balochistan province, killing at least 52 people. At least 5 people have also been reported killed in an explosion at a mosque in Hengu, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. There have been no claims of responsibility so far. Muslim bloc condemns heinous acts. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, has issued a statement strongly condemning the heinous twin attacks. OIC Secretary-General Hissien Brahim Taha said the bloc stood against all forms and manifestations of terrorism and expressed full support for Pakistan's efforts against terrorism. He also offered his deepest condolences to the people of Pakistan and their government. Small children among the dead, witness. Senior police official Munir Ahmed says the attacker in Mastang detonated himself close to a police vehicle near Medina Mosque. At the site of the attack, Munir Ahmed Shahwan said people were looking for loved ones who had planned to take part in the procession. Bodies were strewn in pieces at the site and the injured were crying for help, he told Reuters news agency. I saw at least 25 bodies on the spot, which included small children, he said. Increasing violence a major embarrassment for government, analyst. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwar ul-Haq Kakar, who is in Saudi Arabia for the religious pilgrimage of Umrah, condemned the blasts and called for full support for victims. Kakar heads a caretaker government meant to oversee general elections scheduled for the last week of January. Ahmed Rashid, a journalist and author focusing on Afghanistan, Pakistan and Central Asia, told Al Jazeera the violence against Pakistani civilians showcased the increasing state of disarray of the government. These attacks are multiplying, they are not decreasing in any way at all, and they are getting bloodier and bloodier, he said. This is a major embarrassment for the government, especially since elections are coming up. Attackers tried to storm police station before Hengu Mosque blast. Police have provided more details about the explosion at the Hengu Mosque. Senior officer Fazal Akbar said 2 suspected attackers tried to enter a police station near the mosque, but they were fired upon by the officers there. One of them blew himself up at the gate but the other managed to enter the mosque. Thankfully, most of the people inside the mosque managed to escape after the first blast, which is why the casualty count is low, he said. Unpacking Pakistan's security situation. Iftikhar Firdas, editor of the Khorasan Diary, a research platform specializing in armed groups in the South Asian region, has given us some interesting context about the security situation in Pakistan. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, denied responsibility for the attacks, stressing their strict policy on refraining from targeting public spaces. It wasn't always like this. The armed group used to target mosques and gatherings indiscriminately, but it changed strategy in 2018 to address strong backlash from public opinion and a stern reaction by Pakistani security forces. On the other end of the armed group spectrum, ISIL, ISIS, and particularly its regional branches, the Islamic State Khorasan Province and Islamic State Pakistan, ISKP and ISPP, frequently target public gatherings and processions in order to achieve maximum casualties. While both the TTP and ISPP reject celebrating Mawlid and Nabi as it doesn't align with their interpretation of Islam, ISPP is the sole organization which would allow such indiscriminate targeting of civilians. The armed group sees those celebrating as guilty of breaching the basic tenets of religion, where only 2 occasions can be celebrated in Islam, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Rescue operations in Mastang now completed, health official. Saeed Mirwani, chief executive of the Shahid Nawab Ghaus Bakhsh Raisani Memorial Hospital, has confirmed that his hospital received at least 32 bodies after the blast, while another 20 were taken to the district hospital of Mastang. The injured were then brought to the provincial capital Quetta, which is 50 kilometers, 31 miles, north of Mastang, while the dead bodies were taken away by relatives for burial. The rescue operation is completed and we don't have any dead bodies or any injured in our hospital at the moment, Mirwani told Al Jazeera. What is Maulid an-Nabi? The suicide attacker in Mostang blew himself up as a crowd of 500 people gathered for a procession to celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad, known as Maulid an-Nabi. Muslims in Pakistan and around the world celebrate the occasion by holding public gatherings, often including parades of children in traditional garb. While the celebration is accepted by a majority of Islamic sects, certain denominations view it as an unwarranted innovation. In Mostang, the blast went off before the procession from a local mosque was to begin. What has happened so far? Here's a recap. If you're just joining our coverage, let's bring you up to speed with what we know so far. A suicide attacker blew himself up during a religious procession in Mostang, Balochistan province, killing at least 52 people and wounding dozens. A second blast killed 5 people and injured 12 at a mosque in Hangu, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. There has been no claim of responsibility for either explosion. Armed group Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, Pakistan Taliban or TTP, denies being behind both blasts. Rescue operations in Hangu completed, officials. Rescue operations at the Hangu Mosque are completed, local officials have said, confirming that 5 people died and more than 10 were injured. Fazal Akbar Khan, Deputy Commissioner of Hangu, said in a statement that 2 attackers tried to target the Doaba police station, which is situated a few meters away from the mosque. Witness describes Mostang attack. Sarfraz Ahmed Sassali, who witnessed the explosion in Mostang, has spoken to Al Jazeera about the moment of the attack. I was on the security duty for the procession outside the Medina town mosque. We were preparing for the Prophet's birthday procession when a suicide attacker blew himself up near the stage where our chief guests were sitting. My 2 brothers were injured in the blast and we have shifted more than 100 injured to Quetta for treatment. A very alarming development, analyst Amir Rana, director of the Islamabad-based research organization Pakistan Institute of Peace Studies, says that the 2 incidents appear to be the work of ISIS. However, what must be remembered is that the Islamic State Khorasan province operates primarily out of the Peshawar region in Pakistan, or Afghanistan, while the Islamic State Pakistan province is based out of Balochistan. It appears this might be the first time they coordinated for twin attacks, he told Al Jazeera. The surge in violence shows that the armed groups are increasing their operational capability in challenging the state's command, Rana said. This is a very alarming development. We have historically seen ISIL and its affiliates targeting religious movements and religious centers of worship, he added. Scenes from Quetta Hospital. Here's a series of pictures from the civil hospital in Quetta, where most of those wounded in the explosion in Mostang have been brought for treatment. Balochistan, a complicated history. Balochistan is Pakistan's largest but most impoverished province, and the site of a long-running armed separatist campaign. The resource-rich region has a complicated history with the state of Pakistan. Armed nationalist groups have been seeking an independent Baloch state for decades. Meanwhile, the designation of the port city of Gwadar as one of the key points of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, has caused further resentment in the southwestern province. Over the past decade, Baloch rebels have carried out a number of attacks against Pakistani security forces as well as Chinese officials working in the province. Last month, authorities said they had thwarted an attack on Chinese engineers. Separately, Balochistan has seen an increasing presence of transnational groups such as the so-called Islamic State in Khorasan Province ISKP, ISIS-K, the Islamic State Pakistan Province, ISPP, and the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP. While the TTP has denied carrying out the attack in Mostang, saying it does not have a policy of attacking civilians, the armed group has in the past launched numerous attacks on security forces. In July, at least 9 Pakistan Army soldiers were killed in Zab, a city in the province, when attackers managed to infiltrate a military installation. The attack was claimed by a TTP-linked group. Tragic, but not surprising, analyst. Imtiaz Gul, executive director at the Center for Research and Security Studies in Islamabad, says the news of the two explosions doesn't come as a surprise considering the increasing number of attacks by armed groups in the region this year. The death toll of security forces in the first 9 months of this year has surpassed the total death toll of the previous year, Gul told Al Jazeera, referring to data collected by his think tank. Gul said the so-called Islamic State Khorasan province, or ISIS-K, has been at the forefront of the uptick in violence. He added that the armed group has been branded by security agencies as the #1 threat to regional security. This a very tragic incident, but not surprising, he added. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.